In this chapter, you will apply the knowledge you have gained so far from the complete ChatGPT course to develop a robust book summarizer app. This tool allows users to upload PDF documents and generates concise summaries based on their desired number of words. Let's test it out and check how it works. So I'm going to choose a PDF file, and then I'm going to choose the number of words that I want for the summary. So for example, 200 words. And then I'm going to press the summarize button. As you can see, the app returned a summary of about 200 words as expected. It did a really good job analyzing the uploaded PDF document, which includes nearly 75 pages. This shows you how powerful this app is. It can summarize lengthy PDF documents and help users save time and effort by providing them with the necessary information they are seeking inside their documents without having to go through them entirely. Alright, in the coming videos you are going to build the app by building the front-end interface first and then writing code in the backend which will extract data from the PDF document, then split it to small chunks which are then summarized. So this is how it works. Imagine that the initial text contains about 50,000 tokens. You will take that piece of text, then split it into small chunks. Each chunk containing less than 2,000 tokens. And then you will summarize each of those chunks, and that will give you a list of summaries. After combining those summaries, that will give you a first summary. Let's say that the first summary has 7,000 tokens. You will then do the same job again and again until you reach a summary of less than 2,000 tokens. That's the summary which you will take and summarize again using the number of words specified by the user. I'm very excited to take you through all of this in the coming videos. In this video, you are going to create the app user interface by creating the different HTML elements inside the web page. To save time, I'm going to use code from the home.js file we used previously for the completion API and then update it as needed. So I'm going to copy this code, then create a new folder inside screens and call it PDF summary, then create a file inside it and call it PDF summary.js, and then paste the code in there. So I'm going to change the name of the file to PDF, or the component to PDF summary, then go to the app.js file and add a new root, which is going to be /PDF summary. And the component is PDF summary, and I'm going to click on this and it will import the file automatically. So let's save. Alright, we've got an error saying that it can't find this file. So I'm just going to copy the folder into the PDF summary folder, and this time we should see our web page. Next, I'm going to get the server completion code which I saved inside this file and copy it inside server.js. And now we have an app with a front end and a working back end. So this is working for completions. So for example, this guy it should give me an output using the completion API. We're going to amend this web page in order to get the final result. So inside the container, I'm going to create a div with a heading inside it and a lead paragraph, then a form. Let's go ahead and do this. So let's create a div, and inside the div, I'm going to have a heading and then a paragraph and then a form. So the heading is going to be PDF book summarizer. And then the paragraph is going to say summarize PDF books for efficient. And inside the form, I'm going to have an input of type file. And then we want to accept only PDF files. So .pdf for the extension, and on change, when we change the file, I'm going to run a function called handle file change, which I'm going to create somewhere here. Now let's have a quick look at our web page. So that's how it looks like at the moment. Now let's add some styling to the heading and paragraph and make the form take the full width of the web page. So I'm going to add a class display 4, for example, to the heading, and a class lead to the paragraph. And to make the form take up the full width of the page, I'm going to give it a class W100, width for W for width and 100 for 100%. So that looks similar to the final result. Now let's change the containing div to a flexbox by giving it a class name dflex. And then I'm going to align the elements horizontally and vertically. So let's use align items center and justify content center. And also for the text inside the elements to be censored, I'm going to use text center. So let's save. Now we'll need to turn the flexbox to a vertical one to arrange these elements vertically. To do this, we add the class flex column. And let's add some padding as well, so P3. And now it looks better. Now let's add the number input. This one is an input of type number. And let's have a minimum of 10 words. And I'm going to set the value of the input to a state that I'm going to call max words, which I'm going to define right there. And on change, I'm going to set the value of max words to e.target.value. This is the value provided by the user. And I'm going to add a class for the input of form control to give it the right Bootstrap styling. So let's save. That's our input right there. Now we're going to shorten the width of the input by placing it inside a div and giving it some further styling. I'm going to place this inside a div. So this div is going to have a couple of classes, row and form group. Then we're going to need another div to shorten the width occupied. And this div is going to have a few classes. So first column sm4 to occupy 4 columns in small screens. Then I'm going to add an offset as we're going to jump 4 columns from the left, and then some margin top to separate it from the top element. And that looks better. Now let's style the containing element to add this picture. So to do this, I'm going to give the container a class hero and add some styling using CSS. So let's add the class right there. And then let's go to our CSS file and style the hero class. Or to make it more precise, let's style the hero class inside the container class, as the hero element is inside the container div. So first, let's add a background image and set it using the function linear gradients, which takes a couple of colors. You can change these colors as you like. So this gives us a nice transparent or dark background, and then the URL of the image that we want to use. So I've created a folder, images, inside the source folder, and inside this folder there is the image library.jpg that I'd like to use. So to use that image, I'm currently inside style.css right here. So I'm going to need to go up one folder, then up another folder, then up another folder, then go to the images, then to the file that I want to use. So that means that we're going to go up once, twice, and then thrice, and then go to images, then go to library.jpg. Let's add a space right there, save, and now you can see the background image. Now we need to change the color of the text to white and also change the height of the element to make sure that it occupies half the height of the web page by setting it to 50 VH. And then also I'm going to set the background position of the picture to the center. So the height is going to be 50 VH, which is half the screen height, and then background position center, and then the color white. And that looks better. Now we need to add the submit button. There's going to be a button of type submit, as we're going to use it to submit the form. And we're going to disable the button if there is no file to upload. If you look at the final website, if there is no file to upload, the button is disabled. Once we choose a file, then it is enabled. So to do this, I'm going to add a property called disabled, which I'm going to set to a condition. So the condition is going to be that we don't have a selected file. So I'm going to need a state selected file, and the condition is going to be the opposite of selected file, like this. So the state is going to go right there, and I'm going to call it selected file. So this is going to be initialized to false, and once we select a file and handle the file change, we're going to set that to true, and that's something I'm going to do later. Also, when the page is processing the uploaded file, we are going to disable the button as well. And to do this, we're going to have another state, loading, and we're going to add another condition here, or loading. So the button is going to be disabled if there is no selected file, or the process is loading, or the web page is loading. So that's another state which will be initialized to false as well. So when a PDF document is being processed, the loading state is going to turn to true, and once it stops processing and returns the summary, then the state is going to return to false. So let's add another property to our button, or let's just add a class to the button to style it. So I'm going to use the Bootstrap classes, button and button primary. And also, let's choose the custom button class, which we used earlier in the completion webpage. And let's give it some margin top. Let's add some text to the button and save. And here is our button. And it looks like it's not occupying the full width of the screen as in the final app. So to fix that, I'm going to place the button inside the form group div where I placed the previous input. Right there. So let's save. And now it works. Now let's delete this form as we don't need it anymore. And also we don't need to show the prompts anymore as we are only showing the results. And we are keeping the results and also the JSON result just to see what the server comes back with after we send the request. Now if you look at the button in the final app, you can see that the text says summarize PDF in about number of words, and that's the number that the user specifies in the number input. Also, once we submit the form, this text will change to analyzing PDF 3 dots, while the form is, or the PDF is being processed. So let's go ahead and implement these changes. So instead of writing direct text there, we can have a value. So we're going to need curly brackets, and the condition is going to be loading. So if loading is true, then we will show the text analyzing PDF and 3 dots. Otherwise, I'm going to show summarize PDF in about number of words. And where are we going to get the number from? From the max words state. Like that. And then words. So let's save. So let's write a number in the number inputs, and as you can see, the text of the button will update accordingly. Now let's initialize the number of words to 100 words, like this. Now if you load the app, it will show 100 words by default. Alright, now you have built the user interface for the app. In the next video, you are going to send a request to the server after uploading the PDF document, and then extract the text from the PDF and return it to the front end.